Have you ever thought to yourself, what if a lamp could grow your food? Well, I have, and today I will show you how I made one. It all started with research. Now, I don't know how plants grow, so I went onto the internet to do some research. I learned that it comes down to three important factors: lighting, few days of darkness, and then consistent light throughout. Environment comes down to maintaining the right temperature, humidity, and airflow, and then medium of growth. In this case, I picked cotton pads, which are very easy to maintain, mess free, and easy to water as well from the bottom. Phase 2: Design. It was now time to take these learnings and design the aesthetic and functional aspects of the lamp. This is what I came up with. There are three main aspects to this design. The middle eye section will be made out of walnut and will serve as the core structure of the lamp. Two white lampshades will attach at the top of this structure and will serve as lampshade, of course, and also as grow light for the plants. And then at the bottom, there will be two detachable trays which will contain four smaller trays each. These four smaller trays will hold microgreens or other hydroponic plants as required. I'll be making the core structure using some walnut, and then rest of the parts will be 3D printed. Phase 3: Production. Starting with the 3D print, I used my Bamboo Lab X2D for this. For most of the parts that touch water on a day-to-day basis, like the trays, like all the trays at the bottom, I used PETG. For lampshade, I used white matte PLA, and then there were certain aspects where I used wood PLA as well. To get the same aesthetic appeal from these 3D printed parts as you would from walnut, I used two techniques. I veneered some of the parts, and then I used wood PLA to print certain other parts. You could actually print wood grain patterns using wood PLA and stain it, which makes it pretty convincing, really, as you can see here. Now, to keep things food grade, I coated anything that could potentially touch the plants with food safe epoxy. Moving on to woodworking. I started off with this 2-inch by 3/4 of an inch board, and I ripped it in half to create two roughly 1 inch by 3/4 of an inch board. I didn't do a great job ripping it, so I had to spend some time planing them flat. The next step was to take a 4-inch by 3/4 of an inch board and create the notches of the size of the previous boards to so that they can attach at the bottom, side grain to side grain. For the next step, I took 6.5-inch by 1/4 inch board, cut it to length, and then just rounded the corners. This was pretty straightforward step. And then I glued it all up. Here you see me doing a butt join between the 1/4 inch and 3/4 inch of boards. I initially wanted to do a mortise and tenon here, but in my practice, I kept on splitting the 1/4 inch board. Let me know if you have a better technique with this. Besides, this 1/4 inch board will not have much weight to it, so I think it's gonna be plenty strong. I then sanded it down and finished with some feed and wax. Phase 4: Assembly. I used these grow lights from Amazon. They're very well rated. They are pretty plug and play, and they attach magnetically. So the only thing I had to worry about really is just the flow of the cables. That's it. You might have also noticed some insane screw positions here. That's not by design. That's just an afterthought. When I initially designed this with two screws, and I realized that those are not enough to keep the lampshade up with the lights in place. So I had to add more. Now I could have unscrewed it, taken it out, drilled some holes, did all that. I just went with what I had. No one's gonna see this. I'm the only one who knows this, and now you. So that's all good. Now for cable management, I initially thought of doing just using wood PLA, but the color of that wood PLA was not coming out as close to walnut as I wanted it to. So what I did is I just took some more of the veneer, the walnut veneer, and I applied it on top of that wood PLA print. Now basically everything is walnut, and as you'll see later on, it's there is a line in between. You can see it's there, but it's pretty good. Ignore my horrendous epoxy pour here, but what I'm trying to do here is I'm using some thick cotton strings, passing them through the mesh of each of these trays. Then the end of these strings hang on to the water below. Then when you put the cotton pad at the top of that mesh, these strings pull water as needed and consistently keep the cotton pad wet, which allows you to basically not have to water these plants at all really. Phase 5, Reveal. This is how it turned out. What do you think about the veneer on the 3D print and the wood grain print using wood PLA? Is it convincing enough? This is how the cable management turned out. And you take the trays off and it becomes a regular lamp.